If you're a comedy fan who loves a little controversy, buckle up, because this story is about to take you on a wild ride across the globe. We're diving into a moment that's got everyone talking, from die-hard comedy nerds to people who barely know the difference between a punchline and a setup. This isn't just another stand-up set. This is a cultural flashpoint, a test of boundaries, and a reminder that sometimes the funniest moments happen in the most unexpected places. You absolutely need to hear what Bill Burr just pulled off in Saudi Arabia. It's not every day you see one of America's most outspoken comedians take his act to a place known for its strict rules and conservative culture. Burr didn't just show up. He brought his signature style, his sharp wit, and his fearless attitude to a stage where most comics would think twice before stepping foot. This one's got everything. Drama, big laughs, and some seriously spicy opinions that have the internet buzzing. It's the kind of story that makes you wonder, what happens when comedy collides with controversy? And who gets to decide where the line is? Bill Burr, America's king of sarcasm, and the master of calling it like he sees it, just did stand-up in Riyadh. Yes, you heard that right, the capital of Saudi Arabia. For a guy who's roasted everyone from politicians to pop culture icons, this was a whole new level of boldness. Burr's reputation for never holding back made his appearance in Riyadh even more electrifying. The moment he stepped onto that stage, social media absolutely exploded. Tweets, memes, hot takes, everyone had something to say. Some people were cheering him on, others were clutching their pearls, and a few were just plain confused. The internet loves a good controversy, and this one delivered in spades. Why all the fuss? Well, Saudi Arabia isn't exactly famous for its love of free speech or edgy humor. In fact, it's a place where comedians have to tread very, very carefully. The country has a long history of strict censorship, and even the smallest misstep can land you in hot water. For a comic like Burr, whose act is built on pushing buttons, the stakes couldn't have been higher. And critics were quick to point out the country's human rights issues, from restrictions on expression to the treatment of women and minorities. For some, Burr's decision to perform there felt like a risky move, or even a controversial one. The debate wasn't just about comedy. It was about ethics, politics, and the power of art to challenge or reinforce the status quo. Some people online were like, "Bill, what are you thinking? Are you really going to tell jokes in a place where people can get in trouble just for speaking their minds?" The backlash was swift, with critics accusing Burr of ignoring the realities on the ground. Others wondered if he was putting himself, or his audience, at risk just for the sake of a few laughs. Others joked about whether he'd even survive the Wi-Fi, or if his punchlines would get lost in translation, or worse, get him in trouble with the authorities. The memes were relentless, poking fun at everything from the language barrier to the possibility of Burr accidentally crossing a line he didn't even know existed. It was comedy about comedy, and the internet couldn't get enough. But Burr? He fired back with that classic no-nonsense Burr logic. He didn't back down, didn't apologize, and didn't water down his act. Instead, he doubled down on what makes him great: his ability to find the absurdity in any situation, no matter how tense or taboo. He looked out at the crowd and said, "They're just like us." In other words, people everywhere want to laugh, no matter where they're from or what their government is like. Burr's message was simple. At the end of the day, we're all human, and humor is one of the few things that truly connects us. Burr's point was simple but powerful. Comedy is universal. People want to laugh everywhere, even in places where laughter sometimes comes with a risk. The shared experience of a joke landing, of a room erupting in laughter, is something that transcends borders and politics. It's a reminder that, for a few minutes, everyone can forget their differences and just enjoy the moment. And honestly, the audience in Riyadh did laugh a lot. The room was filled with genuine laughter, proving that humor can break through even the toughest barriers. For many in the crowd, it was a rare chance to see a world-class comedian live, and they embraced it with open arms. Backstage, Burr reportedly chatted with local comics, swapping stories and jokes. It was a rare moment of cultural exchange, with comedians from totally different backgrounds finding common ground in the art of making people laugh. These behind-the-scenes moments are where the real magic happens, where walls come down and people connect over their shared love of comedy. For the local comedians, sharing a stage with someone like Burr was more than just a career highlight. It was a chance to learn, to be inspired, and to see firsthand how comedy can be both fearless and unifying. Burr, in turn, got a glimpse into a comedy scene that's still growing, still finding its voice, but already bursting with talent and ambition. Burr made it clear he wasn't there to make a political statement or to endorse any government. He was there to do what he does best: crack jokes, push boundaries, and maybe dodge a few awkward silences along the way. He wanted the focus to be on the comedy, not the controversy. Fans are split. Some loved seeing Burr take comedy to a place where it's still finding its footing, while others felt uneasy about the whole thing. The reactions ranged from admiration for his courage to concern about the message it might send. The media picked up the story too, with pundits and commentators weighing in on what Burr's performance meant for the future of comedy in restrictive countries. Was this a step forward for free expression, or a dangerous game with real consequences? But there's no denying it. Comedy has a way of bringing people together, no matter where you are or what language you speak. Laughter is a universal language, and for one night in Riyadh, everyone was speaking it. The power of a good joke to unite a room, even a room full of strangers from different worlds, can't be underestimated. Of course, the debate rages on. Some say Burr was brave using comedy to build bridges. Others think he crossed a line by performing in a country with so many restrictions. The arguments are passionate and the conversation shows no signs of slowing down. The bigger question is, should comedians go anywhere their jokes are wanted, or are there places where the risks and the politics are just too much? Around the world, comics have always tested boundaries, sometimes at great personal risk. Burr's performance is just the latest chapter in a long history of comedians challenging the status quo. But let's be real, if laughter is the best medicine, maybe Burr was just doing a little international doctoring, handing out doses of humor where they're needed most. In a world that can feel divided and tense, sometimes a good laugh is exactly what the doctor ordered. Comedy has always pushed boundaries, and Burr's performance in Riyadh is just the latest example of how far comedians will go to find an audience, and maybe even change a few minds along the way. The willingness to step into the unknown, to risk backlash for the sake of a laugh, is what sets great comics apart. For the people who were there, Burr's set was more than just entertainment. It was a moment of connection, a chance to see that humor can thrive even in the most unlikely places. It sparked conversations, challenged assumptions, and maybe, just maybe, planted the seeds for more open dialogue in the future. So, what do you think? Is it brave to bring comedy to new places, or should some stages stay off limits? Does the power of laughter outweigh the risks, or are there lines that shouldn't be crossed? The conversation is bigger than just one show. It's about the role of comedy in a changing world. Should comedians perform anywhere, or are there places where the risks just aren't worth it? The debate isn't going away anytime soon. As comedy continues to evolve, these questions will only get more complicated and more important. Drop your hottest take in the comments. Do you think Burr was right to perform, or did he go too far? We want to hear your thoughts, your stories, and your own experiences with comedy that pushes boundaries. And don't forget to subscribe for more wild comedy moments, hot debates, and stories from the world's most daring comedians. Because in the end, comedy isn't just about making people laugh. It's about making people think, and sometimes about making a little noise in places that need it most.